What's going on, buddy boyos? We are live. Welcome to another random stream for Nobody Sells, because I'm here. And I figured, well, if I'm home and nobody else is home and I got nothing better to do, I might as well just stream a little bit. So I figured, why not? I'm just going to stream. We'll see who wants to join, or not join, rather, but see who's in the chat. And we'll stream for about an hour or so and have some fun. Figured since I'm not doing an SNC tomorrow, I'll just give you guys a little bit of a short stream today. So yeah. Oh my god. I'm so fucking tired, bro. I'm so tired. I've had such a busy day today overall. So no music today. So no music today. Just on my phone today. So hopefully, in fact, let me plug my phone in now because I know this fucking StreamYard fucking drains the fuck out of phones. Give me a sec. Let me put the phone on charger. So I have it right next to me right now. So yeah, how's everybody doing, man? How's everybody fucking doing? I didn't stream at all on a Wednesday. I've been getting busier and busier on Wednesdays now. It's kind of been my date day. It's the day I go on dates, so it's been pretty decent, honestly. I'm doing pretty good. Feel pretty good about this one here, so we'll see. I see where it goes. Let's see, what is this? Yo, boy, what's up, Finleos? All by myself, Lutherville. Well, Jack Tiffin, what's up, dude? Jack, have you is it still are you still on with that girl from was it Portugal? What's going on with that one, my dude? Aw shit, you've been playing Armored Core, huh? Yeah, I love Armored Core, dude. I've been playing those games for years. God, I'm like an Armored Core vet, so I know how to play Armored Core. I know all the tricks and shit and how to play the game. So for me it's kinda like Dark Souls in a way where like I know how Dark Souls games kinda play, so it's not that hard. A game I'm really interested in right now. I've really been following it, but it's like what's that game called? It's a Souls like made by who's making it? I forget who's making it, but it's a new game coming out pretty soon. It's something of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen looks pretty good. It's not Dark Souls obviously, but it's like Souls like, so it could be a good game. I'm gonna try it out. And then I know Starfield comes out in a few days. I might try that out. And in fact, I have Game Pass. So I might as well try it out, see how it is. And then I'm playing Armored Core right now still. And then what else am I playing right now? I still have to beat Final Fantasy still. Still haven't beat that yet, which is I'm so slow in that game. And then I still have a Street Fighter where I just kind of hop on that every once in a while. And then what else do I do? That's about it. Yeah. Other than that, just been bowling my ass off and hanging out with friends and going on dates and shit. So yeah, it feels good, man. Yo, what's up, Jay? Thought you were on vacation. Kinda. I mean, I'm not. Whenever I say I'm going on a trip or on vacation, I'm just kind of like traveling to my parents' house, my mom's house. So I just kind of go there and chill for a few days and then come home. So and she doesn't live that far away, so it's like I'm not at home, so I can't use my gaming PC to stream, and I don't have my a regular mic and stuff like that. But other than that, I can still yeah, I can stream from my phone, but that's not nearly as fun. And I don't have any music, and I don't have any memes. It's pretty hard for me to show videos and shit, so I just don't bother normally streaming. But for something like this, though, I'll just do a short stream every once in a while just to give people something to listen to while they're. I know not everybody has the same life that I do, so it's always good to give people something to listen to on a random weekend every once in a while, right? So yeah, I figured I would just stream a little bit, while I have some downtime. So haha, you're me. You're streaming on your phone. Yeah, a little bit. I will try to bring my Spurgy ass on the next SNC. Oh wow, a new person for a couple minutes at least. I just got to hope that nobody is around. Well, why are people so afraid to come on the stream, dude? Like, I don't understand this one. This show is so fucking weird, bro. I don't know. People are so weird about like coming on stream and stuff like that. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, okay, so what? Your voice is now on the fucking internet. Like, who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. Like, I come on these streams and I fucking stammer and I do a bunch of spurky ass weird shit, and I don't give a fuck. Who gives a shit? Like, what are you gonna do? Attack me or beat me up or some shit. Who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't matter. I feel like people are way too like self conscious about that shit, dude. Like, I stopped giving a fuck about my fucking voice years ago. Like, like people will joke about my stammer every once in a while. But who gives a fuck? Like, what do you? There's not much I can do about it other than maybe go to a speech language pathologist and try to fix it. But even then, like, I've taken speech classes before. I mean, you guys don't know like how bad my stammer used to be back when I was younger. So like, this is actually an improvement. Yeah, you can't abandon enough. I can, but I could do it at any point. I could just drop the channel, delete all the shit off of it and leave. But I think someone already has a what do you want to call it, an archive of this shit though. So it's never gonna come off the internet anyway. But yeah. Fake cell, you going? Yeah, I've always gone on dates, dude. I never claimed to be a cell, really. I mean, like, I think I'm gonna claim to be an incel when I first got on stream, but like, it was relatively short lived, like, type shit. Like, straight never said he was a cell. Yeah, it's true. Are there any truly reformed hoes after 30 in your experience dating? I would say no. Some hoes are better than other hoes, but they're never really reformed. As it's just true. I don't think there's all women are hoes, so proven otherwise, right? So the reality of the dating world right now is that you have to like treat women that way, and act accordingly. And the girl I'm dealing with right now is probably she doesn't have any tattoos. She's not extremely liberal. The only real downside is that she's going for a higher level degree right now, but other than that, that's kind of my only real not turn off, but like it's not even really a red flag, more like but it is kind of it's a bit of a red flag for me a little bit, but other than that, yeah, I feel like women are way over educated right now, and there's no need for them to be going for their 85th a master's degree or some shit. This is dumb, but I think it's a waste of their time and their reproductive years, but whatever, it is what it is. We live in today's society right now, right? So it is what it is. But yeah, there aren't. If you think you're gonna find a good woman after like I don't know, maybe you can find a decent woman, but you're not gonna find any good women after like 30, right? There's no like virgins walking around. I think I've encountered, and I'm not sure if this is even true or not. I've encountered one woman who waited till she got married to get to have sex. And who knows what else she's done, but she claimed to be a virgin. I'm like, wow, this is pretty rare. She was like 29 when I met her. I didn't date her. I figured I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested. But other than that, yeah. Yes, I have. I met a Mediterranean GF, but Anglo still just like me, I think. Yeah, of course they still like you, just like you, man. They think you're genetic trash of their race, right? Hard to tell when you're too anxious to socialize. You age like fine wine and you become the best version of yourself, and now you're a high value male. You left us all behind, bro. I wouldn't even say that, man. I think it's a bit of a yeah, I'm still overweight. I'm not like where I should be at weight wise, but like truth be told, like my whole life, I don't know, man. Like people, I've been watching this dude. I forgot the name of this channel, but there's a whole series of channels now I've been looking at a little bit, just trying to see what's going on. And it's called Handsome Man Game, I guess. So like basically it's game, or I don't want to call it game because I think it's bullshit. The reality is that these dudes claim that, and I think maybe there's some truth to it, right? Where it's like when you're already handsome, or not handsome, I guess, but hot, or whatever phrase that women would use, right? When you're or to use the black manosphere term, when you're already a select guy, there's a different level of like criteria that applies to you versus which this is obviously true, right? You don't have to jump through as many hoops. The women react to you differently. All that crap is simply true, right? So yeah, it is somewhat true that like when you're already a made man, right? You're a dude who's attractive. You got a decent body, stuff like that. Well, like, but in my case though, I feel like I've always had, I've told the story a million times now, but I've always had some level of options when it comes, even when I was like extremely overweight. So like, I'm starting to think like, so a lot of these dudes claim that like, oh yeah, a body game is really important. I'm like, yeah, of course it's important. Like, nobody wants to date someone who's like 400 pounds, but yeah, I don't know. In my case, like some women did. Like, it's so weird, but I don't know. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I'm Chad or some shit, but it is odd to me that like I'm like it's weird like body game like I guess maybe some of these I don't know they claim to be handsome men and blah blah blah, but who knows how true it is. But these are their claims anyway. But yeah, I've been watching a few of the channels and some of the information is interesting, like how women act around handsome men versus men who are just normal or subhuman. I guess is interesting to hear about. But yeah, it's good to take a break from the black pill. It allows one to refresh and not to get stuck on repeat. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I'm glad I take these breaks. Truth be told, and like I said, I'm only going to stream for like about an hour and a half, maybe about an hour, depending on how many people show up here today, I guess. But we're already at 28 people in here, so what the fuck, man? Like people still show up, dude. Anyone see Rehab Room's new video? Yeah, I just got done watching it. And the video was good. It's pretty standard Rehab Room stuff. It's nothing I didn't already know type stuff, but it's still interesting to hear from him because he's really good at like hammering the point home. But I was watching the video, and then I went down once I finished the video. I always go to the comment section, right? And I went to the comment section, and one comment that somebody left really stuck out with me, stuck out to me actually, and it talked about how people always use the phrase that like you use the phrase of like you have a face that only a mother could love, right? And the reality is that I think that so somebody left a really good comment saying that even that's not true because like if you look at the way that a mother treats the child she thinks is attractive versus the one she thinks is unattractive, I brought this up before, but like I don't think that I would have my current job right now because the two people who hired me and interviewed me were women. So like I think women are always operating off of looks and genetics, right? And I think that even amongst your mother, like your mother's still gonna love you, but like she's always gonna have that like favorite kid. She's like, oh well, this is my attractive son, and this is my son, right? And that's pretty blackpilling because the implication is that your mother really like doesn't think much of you. She's like, well, if he happens to breed, whatever, but like the dude I'm buying for is my top tier son, right? It's like, and I see it even in my own mother. I see it. Like my mom, she'll one of the comments basically said that like, or one of the comments that was left underneath that comment was like, yeah, like you notice that like mothers will even like they'll wheel out their a really attractive son. They'll bring him to like certain events, or they'll show him on Facebook or something like that, but they'll leave their ugly son or their subpar son at home, or they'll leave him in other situations. And it's like, oh shit, like when you start hearing stories like that, man, it's a little bit blackpilling. You're like, damn, like even mothers are like don't even really care about their ugly sons, right? Like shit. And if you think about it, it makes, from a genetic standpoint, it makes some sense, right? Because if you think about it, yeah, like your mother, half of her genes made you. So it's like if you come out subpar, it's an indictment on her, and beyond that, not an indictment on her, but it shows she made half of you. So it's like, oh shit, my genes made this thing and it's not good type thing, right? So it's like, but if you make something good out of your genes, like dang, I want to show it off. Like I want to show off my son. I want to show off this attractive thing I've made, right? So it's like it makes some sense, right? Like you want to put all your money and investment and time into the thing that you think into the thing that you think is going to be a sure bet. But that's extremely blackpilling, though. So, god damn. Hiya, fellas. What? No, you are a tyrant. That is why you are allowed to stutter. Plus, let's be real. Some liberal fear chocolate men, thus allowing them to stutter. Maybe, I don't know. But if you are a snowman, like who stutters? Oh, you mean white man stutters? People clown your ass constantly. Yeah, maybe there's some truth. I don't know. Yeah, some people make fun of my stutter, but a lot of people don't. I have a list fan of stutters. I have 2 speech impediments and one, and I speak really fast as well. So that's 3 really to some extent. So it's like, I don't know, like nobody really ever gave me a hard time for it in person. Maybe online people were like, oh, you have a funny voice, but like, I don't know. I'm not info, but I believe the black pill the same as I believe in gravity. Yeah, good shit. They age like fine prunes. Don't forget it. Yeah. Congratulate your girlfriend. She stole you from us. It's over. Oh, man. No hymen, no diamond is cope in the U.S. It is cope, yeah. It's one of the biggest copes in the black, and not the black pill, but the red pill. It's like, oh, you're no hymen, no diamond. Yeah, dude, good fucking luck. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I think some of these dudes, I think they're capping hard when they're talking about how I'm slinging bitches every fucking week. No, you're not. No, you're fucking not, bro. Like you're on fucking YouTube way too often to be slaying bitch that slaying fucking women every fucking week, dude. No fucking way. I see Rehab Room is IT. Yeah, he's ITV. Yeah, she took his old channel down and made a new channel, right? That German girl I fucked ended up going to Vegas with some rich French guy since visiting LA. Her hypergamy took over. God dang, bro. Trisco has a girlfriend. Like, not really, not quite yet, but I've been dating her for like, talking to her rather for a few weeks, and obviously we've done the deed and stuff like that. So yeah. Hello, Chad. Thunder dicks. Fuck. We are all Chads at heart. Yeah, we do. We're all Chad deep down inside, dude. We're all Chad deep down inside. We're all Chad deep down in our soul. We're all Chad. We all feel like a Chad, right? But in reality, tell a different story, my dude. What's up, champ? What's up, Mark? Preach to us, Chad. I'm preaching right now, dude. Maintain the frame. Maybe I did. Sure, tall, you can get away with some weight and lower income. Yeah, that's one. I carry my weight very well. Like even when I get big, people are like, "Oh, you don't look anywhere close to the weight that your scale tells you are." I'm like, "Yeah, because I carry my weight very well." Yeah, I'm just lucky. Like I don't have a very fat face at all. My face is very. My features still show off pretty well, even at pretty high body fat. But I'm just lucky in that respect, right? So. Jay, are you a black film? He's black film. Dates are nice, but they don't mean much lately. Maybe 10% of dates lead to sex overall. Don Zig is 5'4" and he never ended it. Okay. Well, I can't integrate into society anymore because I can't relate. Yeah. Wheat Waffles is debating right now. Of course, he handpicked a bunch of blue pillars to make himself look superior. I don't even know what's going on. I don't care about Wheat Waffles anymore, truth be told. But yeah. Rehab Room is a grifter. I don't think he is. He's not really making any money, is he? I don't know. I don't think he's making any money off this channel, or maybe he's making money off of ads, but that's nothing really. I don't mind people who like make money off of like the basic shit of YouTube. Like even I could probably implement a super chat, but I just don't want a YouTube to have my information and shit like that. So I just want to stay like. Plus, like when you start taking money from YouTube, I feel like you're under more scrutiny as well. So I'd rather just like stay under the radar and have like a relatively a free speech zone in my opinion. So that's the way I view things. So this school should have more subs than Griff Waffle. I probably should, but maybe I don't know. People don't really care about long form content much anymore. Like I stream for 5 hours a fucking night or on Sundays anyway, so nobody really cares about this shit, dude. Oh, look at the proponents of Griff, dude. That's not true, man. Women do not want to have ugly kids. That's why they abort babies they think won't be up to par genetically. Yeah, I would agree. Looks, if you are in a marketing job, other job is useless. You say that, but you'd be surprised. Like depending on who's hiring you, men will look at you objectively and say like, okay, like you're good at your job, I'm gonna hire you. Women will look at you and say, oh no, like, you don't look good at all, man. Danny York said he got a job based on. I'm not saying I got it based on looks, but all I'm trying to say was the example of getting a job is that the reality is that I think that women are looking at looks all the time. Even older women look at looks all the time. So it's like they're looking at you and saying, "Oh, he looks good," and they might think that like unless your work is like extremely subpar, but your work can be relatively mediocre to just average. And women will give you a pass because, like, or not even give you a pass. They're like, "Well, this is good enough, or this is good work because he's attractive," type shit, right? I think that their hypergamy and their look fucking filter overrides the actual hard work you're doing sometimes, right? Like, it's a crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't happen, but it's just true. Whereas a male manager or a hiring manager will look at you and say, "Can you do the job?" And the looks might not even factor in. Obviously, if you're doing something like marketing or sales, it matters a lot. But like if you're just working some like regular job, it might not matter as much. But yeah, maybe I'm over explaining here. But yeah, because that doesn't explain to all ugly people that exist a beautiful people ratio. You have a good point here, Miss. My mother treated me like shit for a year. I'm not sure what he's responding to here, to be told. I'm not sure what this comment's responding to, but not all women have the ability to care. I would agree. Yeah, that's true. A woman posted a video of her having postpartum depression, and one of the reasons she said she had it was because she didn't think her baby was cute. Women have postpartum when they mate with non-8. Non-8. I love it. That's good. I think that's what DPJ was saying for a long time. Black Hole J. He sounds like Tom Holland. Who, me? I don't know. I don't know who we're talking about. Non 8 out of 10 Chad. I play Stacy's every weekend, bro. All versions hit the gym and floss, bro. I think incel movement is dying out, but Black Pill philosophy has momentum because it's just based on reality outside delusions. Yeah, I would agree. Enter channel name FU. Oh, no problem, dude. I love. Yeah, thanks, dude. I love. Thanks for the compliment, dog. I love it. FU, man. I love it. In fact, that they used to be a John Cena's name for his finishing move before he changed it to the AA. The attitude adjustment. What a gay name for a move. The FU was so much better. Dude, what's up, dude? Bro, you see that alien, bro? Dude, I see it, bro. Don Zig is also a rock star, so there's well. No incel movement. Yeah. So when are you gonna start telling us to just take a shower, bro? Just go to the gym, bro. Just be confident, bro. Now that your chat's undercocked. Fuck that shit, bro. I'm not doing that shit. That's dumb. I'm not doing that. It's dumb. Oh man, does anyone here want to come on and talk? I'll let people on. I can do that. Actually, no, I can't. It'd be kind of hard. That means I gotta move. That's too much fucking work. I want to. Can I post comments in the Will the comments I post in here go to the I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. Yeah, this is I hate streaming from my phone. I hate because I can't bring people on easy, but just use tactical soap, bro. I get life mugged by my by my dad's side of the family. Pretty much all of my male cousins. Shit. It's so weird because of like I guess maybe one of the leading indicators of like, for example, I was I don't know, like I'm not even trying to. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because like I don't want to come across as bragging, but I think that the personal stories do somewhat like they matter. Like when you start hearing stories and the stories kind of match up to what's going on in reality somewhat, like when you start seeing the data, I think it's somewhat interesting, right? If you hear a story and anecdote, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, this matches up with the data as well, so it's like shit. So like you're just another point on the graph, right? But like I was out and like one of the things I realized is that like people when people think you're attractive, they just immediately assume you're either you're in a relationship or like they're people will just approach down. This is random ass shit, bro. Like children will look at you longer and they'll approach you and say and it's just weird, bro. Like I don't know, it's just weird shit. I can't talk. I'm blind. No problem, dude. I'm at least with my stream, you don't have to worry about fucking looking at anything other than maybe the videos that pop up every once in a while. Just bro. Just bro. Ain't gonna move into BS if you have cash. You can just rent some box. That's true. Even then, I don't know, man. Like in America, bro, I've heard stories of like escorts and hookers and shit basically telling themselves that like, nah, I'm not banging you. They'll ask for a picture, bro. I've heard stories like that. Like they'll ask for a picture before they bang you. Like, oh yeah, before you even talk to the chick, she'll ask for a picture of you. It's like, oh shit, they're trying to screen out the fucking incels. Like I'm like, that's fucked up, bro. Like you can't even pay for peace leave, bro. You can't. You can't pay for peace leave. It's crazy. You need guys like Mystery in this space because he's a black pillar who deals with women regularly in real time. Yeah, some truth there. Yeah. Well, most men are realizing they are incel or regulated to smashing landwells only, or relegated to smashing relegated to smashing landwells only. I think most people, if they were put on try to serum, would admit that looks is nearly everything. Old guys too. Yeah, the black pill will never die as long as there are scammers selling opium courses. Opium. Did quitting your job help you become Chad, or are you just good looking so money doesn't matter? At this point, I have to say like I'm pretty at least decent looking. I don't know. Like from watching those videos, the videos those dudes are posting about, like women will I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore because like I've heard stories of like, well, if a woman doesn't tell you that you're attractive, then you're not really attractive. Then I've heard some stories telling you that well, women will never tell you that you're really attractive because they don't want you to get like I don't know, but it could be a little bit of both. I don't know, like what do you guys think is more true? Will women actually tell you you're attractive? Like, because the chick I'm dealing with now, she has no problem telling me, but she wouldn't tell me at first. But obviously, because she even matched with me on a dating app and talked to me at all, she must think I'm attractive, right? Like, just by the fact she's even talking to you at all on a regular basis means that you're attractive enough for her to like deal with you on a regular basis, right? So yeah, I mean, I guess there's some truth there. I guess I don't know. They have agents in adult movie theaters and bookstores. What the agents? The fuck? Renting boxes is illegal. Also, escorts are pickier now, and most Gen Z men don't got money like that. That's true. I think big booty Asians are QT. It's hard to pay for box. You got scammers, women overcharging, staying so many obstacles. yeah, yeah, yeah. So many guys with someone below your looks match now. I got a kick out of escort maxing, huh? They have police agents at massage parlors. Be careful, eh? Jay, you're kind of right, but they're always around. Still better to escort max legally overseas. Well, as someone who has friends with Chad, women go out of their way to say he's handsome. Oh, well, there you go. Women will lie to height normally, but they will tell Chad. They want leverage, but there's a point. They would just say it outright. Women tell Tyrone he's fine to his face. That's true. This girl you're seeing, have you smashed? Yeah, I've smashed a while ago. Yeah. We just haven't made like an immediate like an official relationship, right? Like it's kind of like we call what's the term for it? What's a situation? I don't even know what to call it at this point, but like I guess it kind of is a relationship at this point, right? But yeah, smashing girls is kind of gay, and the way the um manosphere is going. Truth be told, I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes the narrative in a few months. This is the African girl. No, this is a regular African American girl, which is odd. Normally, African American girls don't deal with me at all, so it's weird. You pay, but then you dip, but then they dip, or you get arrested. Huh. Escort matching in the U.S. sounds extremely life denying. My personal types are dark haired, like Latin chicks, but Asian chicks come in a close second. I'm not big on Asian women too much. I actually prefer my own race than anything else. Which makes sense, obviously, but probably for me, it's like the hierarchy for me is like probably black for black women in general. But obviously, you're all looking for the specific look of a black woman, and not the traditional like I don't this chick here, she looks fairly you know I was gonna say she looked fairly European, so it's like but it is what it is, right? She has those features, so and then but she has like the regular like big lips, but her nose is small, not like the big bell pepper nose, and then stuff like that. So, and then there's probably so for me it's blacks, the women I prefer anyway, black, then probably Hispanic, then probably white, then Asian, and then obviously you can throw in more ethnic groups in there if you want, but yeah. What do you call an Anglo who's adored by normies? I guess an oofy doofy. I've been seeing an Enso looking guy in my shorts, and every normie thinks he's a wholesome chungus. Meanwhile, stuff like Mrs. Mister Same Cementarian Entertainment, whatever, he gets bullied severely. He got her from the American Girl store. The doll. American Girl is child trafficking, is it? Every oh, every man for himself. Yeah, kind of in a way. Well, let me see if I can get people on here. Give me a sec. Let me. I'm a half hour in here. I don't want to just talk the entire time, but give me a sec. Let me. Oh, I can post a comment. Let me do this. Give me one sec, my dudes. Guest. Invite guest. I'm gonna copy this link, and then if I come over here to more, go to the post a comment, and I come here and I put it here. Let me know if this shows up in the regular chat. Does this show up in the chat or not? Hopefully you guys can see it. If not, I'll have to go to YouTube or some shit. Valuetainment always sounds like he's grifting every time he speaks a sentence. Yeah, it's weird, bro. I like some of his content when he's not talking about like the dating stuff. He's not like some heavy hitter intellectually, but he's informative sometimes, and it's kind of fun to watch him sometimes. But other than that, though, yeah, he sounds like he's trying to like sell you something every fucking 15 seconds. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like dude, you have like a salesman voice like hard like. So we got Jack Piston. What's up, bro? At the stream. What's going on, homie?
Right. Yeah, you're right, homie.
Give me hold on. Before you talk, let me give me 1 sec. I gotta fix my audio coming out of my phone. I have earbuds on, but it's coming out of my phone. Give me a sec. Audio, not the default. I wanted to come out of my Bluetooth. There.
You right there, mate?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I hear you now. Good shit. Okay, what's that?
Yeah. One of the things you said about how children are treated differently according to how they look by their own parents, and I think that would make a lot of sense. And I actually experienced that myself. I have two sisters, and one of them, my middle sister, she was, when she was younger, one of the best looking women in my local area. She was so good looking that she got taken on by TV companies to be put into different
commercials and shit.
Commercials. She had a daytime TV slot one time where she was just put on the TV because she was so attractive.
No fucking way, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I noticed there was a massive difference in how my mother treated my sister to how she treated me. And I think it makes sense because she probably realized subconsciously that this person would be given more opportunities throughout her life. And if she invested more in this person, then it's going to pay off genetically in the long term. And I was probably, especially in my younger years, looking like I was going to be a genetic dead end. I was always drinking. I had a bad state of mental health. I didn't appear to have any signs that I was going to achieve anything worthwhile in my life. And she treated me like shit for a whole decade. I mean, it was so bad. I used to go to I used to have to go and like stay away for months on end. And I actually don't blame parents for behaving like this, because I think that when they've got a child who isn't neurotypical or hasn't got a general way of behaving that makes them appear like they're part of the eugenic in-group, that I think a lot of parents go into shock and they try to push the kid away. And what happened later on in life is that my mother started changing her attitude towards me. And I think probably she assessed her viewpoints and realised that she was probably reacting in a way that was outside the context of reasonable behaviour. But I mean, you hear this all the time. Like, you hear about children getting victimised and neglected, and I often wonder if these children who are victimised and neglected in the context of other children not being neglected. Is this down to the fact that these particular children have got these kind of incelish traits and they're just being rejected the same way that if you look at birds in a nest, you see these cruel things of these mothers who throw the genetically deficient birds out of the nest and leave them to die? It's something that happens with human parents,
Yeah, it used to happen all this. I mean, people think that like abortion is something new, but like abortion used to be like post the child was born, right? Like after the child was born, it's like they'll assess like if the child is like fit or not, and they'll kill it. Like they'll just leave it somewhere and let it die. Like abortion is not new. This is the oldest time. Like now, abortion in the sense of like pulling the kid out. Yeah, I mean, I think the Romans had a way of doing abortion that way as well. But like either way, abortion is not new. Like it is not a new thing. It's been around for years. I think that human beings are coping when they're like, oh well, every human being is worthy of love and respect. No, they're not. Like every parent knows that. Like I think in what country is it? I think it's the Netherlands. They've actually eradicated Down syndrome and a bunch of other common not common but relatively common but rare birth defects, because they just abort the children, right? Like, and to some extent, I kind of get it, right? Like it's like I don't like I don't like the implication of it because it is very eugenics-esque, but like
Yeah,
life is eugenics though, right? It is what it is. Like there's just like
yeah,
why would a parent want to have a burden of like imagine having a child who has like I'm not talking about having like a small defect like I don't what's a small defect for a child to have at birth? Who fucking knows? But like maybe being born premature, I don't fucking know. But imagine being born like you have a child who had like a bad defect, and it's like you have to deal with that for 18 years, and even honestly, you have to deal with that your entire life because that kid will probably never be able to take care of themselves, right? So it's like that's a huge financial burden on you, and it's a huge financial burden on overall society. And it's like
yeah,
I'm not saying life
yeah,
would be better if we just got rid of all the. I'm not saying even incel, but just the genetic defects. But like, I think that people are coping a little bit when they're like, oh, every person's worthy of life. Probably
yeah,
not. Like,
yeah,
depending on the circumstances, it
yeah,
might be a little bit like, and that goes against what I think and be like to some extent. Like, I'm not a huge fan of abortion, but in certain like circumstances, I kind of get it. Like, I kind of do get it, but
yeah. There's certain ways of looking at this. First of all, I think there's too many people being born in the world altogether. There's too many people being born, and that there isn't enough resources in the world for every person who's alive today to live an American middle class lifestyle. And I wouldn't think that these people who are being born in places into poverty uh, is a good idea that the birth rates are so high because it's unsustainable. And one day there's going to be a massive cataclysm if there's any kind of societal collapse, particularly in the more productive parts of the world, and it's going to cause long-term misery. In the long term, it's going to cause a massive amount of human tragedy. When it comes to individuals and they are showing clear signs that they are either mentally or physically defective, and they're bought, and it's clear that they're going to suffer throughout their lives. Uh, is is that a good thing or a bad thing when you've got more of the ancient way of looking at this issue? Uh, it's obviously down to how you perceive this issue as an individual. I would personally say there's always an argument for improving the genetic stock of a particular population.
yeah,
It's a no-brainer.
yeah. There's
If
just
you've
some
got
like people think that like stuff like like selective breeding doesn't work on human beings, but it does. Like we're as biological or anything else as
yeah,
as a plant. Like plants you can grow plants in certain ways, and we've done it for years. You can make corn didn't used to be as big as it is now, but we genetically modified it and kept growing it in certain ways to where it's bigger now, right? So it's like if
yeah,
you combine certain things, like, there's no reason why this can't work on human beings like at all. Like
yeah. I mean, I'm personally not of the type of constitution, and I haven't got the genetics to say that you should further my genetics. And a lot of the people that I've spoken to who have this idea, uh, uh, they personally tell me that they don't believe that their genetics are the type of genetics that should be extended through the gene pool at a mass level. So I don't think it's a thing about ego. I think it's a thing about the cumulative effects on the society if you select for certain types of genetics. Obviously, certain things should be selected out of the gene pool if you could do it through science. I mean, if you've got two parents and they've got a child that's about to be born, and they could genetically engineer this child so they haven't got hereditary diseases, I would suggest that the parents are sick in the head if they allowed their children to be born with genetic diseases that could be screened out through science. That's one thing, but improving the genetic health of a population is a highly humane act. When it
yeah, like
comes to
yeah, it's kind of like people, especially people who are like of the religious variety, which I kind of am. I kind of like I really ride the line on whether I am or not. But like whether you whatever you believe or not, like what they'll end up saying is that like they'll be like, well, every you're playing God if you do that. But like okay, we're playing God anyway, like whether you like it or not. Making the nuclear bomb was playing God. Messing with physical
yeah,
reality is playing God to some extent. Like this idea of like, oh, you're playing God if you like this is I'm sorry, but I watched the video from I think a rehab room made a video. I think it was last week's video or something like that, talking about how parents were literally picking, finding the genes that one parent said they have a marker for that,
Yeah,
and they didn't want their kids to have that. And it's like, well, I kind of get it, right? Like, why would you want your kids to suffer the same way you did?
yeah. I saw a guy one time. I mean, obviously, I think we're both on the same page that if somebody's born with defects, they should be given societal care. I think we both agree with that.
Yeah, I would
Um,
agree. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and we both agree with that there should be societal care for people that have got genetic deficiencies. But why allow that to happen in the first place? I saw a guy
yeah,
in London one time, and this guy was just so disabled it was almost beyond belief, and he had this electric wheelchair, and he was traveling around on the streets of London with this terrible disability. Now, if that person hadn't been born with these deficiencies because science could have screened these types of genetics out in the first place, then I would argue that allowing somebody to be born with that type of disability is an act of obscene cruelty. When it comes to improving the genetics of a population, I think that it comes down to values and what a particular person would like to have as a genetic reality within their society. And then it becomes more of a subjective thing and what you highly value. I mean, me personally, because I'm into combat sports, I'm into certain masculine types of interests. I would like to build up the British population. So they're a bunch of tough giga chads who may be a little bit low IQ, but they're more fearsome. So I would like genetically select people like Tyson Fury, people like who's that weightlifter? You spoke about it before. The big strong guy.
Eddie Hall.
Yeah, Eddie Hall. People like that. Eddie Hall. Yeah, and build
Yeah,
up the English people so they're a bunch of physical monsters. Now, I wouldn't necessarily care about the IQ because that's where my values are centered. But I can imagine another English person, if they wanted to selectively breed a population, would want to breed a bunch of leftist cucks who are more
yeah,
subservient to. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I think when it comes to sculpting a population, it is down to your own personal predilections, and I don't think there's a perfect sort of artificial selection that could take place because one type of highly selected population would be right against what other people would believe is the right thing to do, but it would work. I mean, I could go to uh, the smallest the smallest, most physically unimposing part of the world, and I reckon if I was given 300 years, so I was given 300 years to do this. So I was given some sort of medication where I could live for 300 years. I believe that I could get heavyweight champion wrestlers, boxers, and mixed martial artists within 300 years in any population in the world because I would just merely get the bigger, strongest women and the bigger, strongest men, and I would mate them. And then I'd mate them, and I'd mate them, and I'd mate them, and I'd make them compete on one generation. Then the best of that generation, I would mate them from the mothers of the best competing men, and actually the best competing men. If you get what I'm saying, yeah. And I would build
Yeah,
the population up, and after about 10 to 15 generations, I'm going to have a super race, and then I would promote this super race, and they would just be kicking ass. There wouldn't be anybody who can beat them, yeah. And
yeah,
I think that would be a great human experiment, and I would like to, and I think it would be easily achievable. Now the argument is because during the 20th century, a lot of the ideological uh, uh, sort of powers within Europe, a lot of these were eugenicists. It happened in Britain, it happened in America, it happened in other countries, and it's got connotations in the modern world with parts of history that people are a little bit upset about. So it isn't widely discussed in the modern age, but it would definitely work. But obviously, it's down to values.
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. What do you think about gene editing? Like, I think we talked about this earlier a little bit. But like, what do you think about let's say instead of aborting, you just we're just going to get rid of the gene. Let's say you can literally just edit the genes in any way you want. My only problem with gene editing would be I think that there is some value in having a level of biodiversity within a species, right? Obviously, you don't need everybody to have the exact same role in society. But I think Jack Nickelback left his comment that kind of jogged my memory on this. But like, imagine everybody has the exact Aryan fucking, phenotype, right? Chiseled jawline and blue eyes and blonde. Like in theory, sexually that person would do better. But it's like from a species standpoint, I'm not sure if that's superior in a overall sense, or that's simply superior in a sexual, obviously in a sexual sense, right? So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to remember, Mystery. I'm a little bit. I'm not neurotypical, so the way I see the world is probably not the same as a person who's more neurotypical would see it. But I've seen a fine example of gene editing that has happened through historical processes. Now, if you look at Colombia, the South American nation, I would suggest that they are amongst some of the most attractive women in the world. And that population is a result of Spanish and Indian blood intermingling over the generations, and they've got this certain look that makes them very attractive. Now, that was done through gene selection. That I should imagine the Spanish conquistadors only selected the best looking women because they had the ability to select the best looking women because they completely dominated the society. And then generations later, these are the progeny of these Spanish conquistadors. So, although it would have been bad that the Spanish conquistadors invaded Colombia for the native people, the results are that they are they are very attractive people today. So you can even see in historical antecedents how these types of things can play out. Now, would you agree that Colombian chicks are some of the most attractive women in the world?
Yeah, I find the anything south of the border really is like there's some fine looking women down there, man. This is true. Like it's unbelievable. Like honestly, the mixing of the native Aztecs and everybody else down there with the Spaniards that's a great combination. It's just like, but the women are a little bit off. They're a little bit crazy, right? Like we all know it. Like this Hispanic women being crazy thing is not a meme. Like they're a little bit, yeah.
Well, no, I was. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
What's up, Woody?
Yeah, mate.
What's up, guys? But I would say, is it actually our perception, or is it I guess is it just what we see as attractive? That let's say if we see women that, all of us we're not in South America, right? But all we see is girls that are online or like the face of that country. Well, no, but I mean, again, I don't know how that would account. Like if somebody's, let's say, above average, is it like maybe 1 in 10, or or 3 in 10 in a way?
No, I've mixed personally with large groups of Colombians in Spain to the point where there's been over 20, 30 people coming and going every 30 minutes in these restaurants in the Colombian districts of Spain. And I would say over half of them are approaching Instagram level social media influencer levels of attractiveness.
But you do know that. Just to add in, you can go on, go on with that, but I'm thinking in a way that if you can afford to travel, that means you're kind of coming from a higher middle class family, anyways.
Yeah,
which kind of skews the point. I mean, not a normal Colombian, picking picking banana plants, off. You know what I mean? It's like you're usually probably getting the higher middle class or people from rich family. Maybe they come from smarter people in general, smarter genes that they have fathers or brothers who can sponsor trips, going and fucking off to Spain. But go ahead. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I think you've actually made a good point that I didn't think of initially. These people that I met are selected from the more upper class members of Colombian society, and they're obviously that's going to correlate with intelligence, looks, and how they present themselves. I did find the ones that I met to be highly attractive, but also their culture is highly attractive. I was actually quite shocked because when I was going to these Colombian restaurants, I had a preconceived notion that Colombia was like this cartel culture where these guys were a bit shady and stuff, and they've all got tattoos over their faces and they're volatile. And I was a little bit apprehensive, but I found them to be very friendly. I found them to be very funny, and I found them to be very welcoming. And I found the Colombian women to be so attractive, but as you say, this is probably down to the fact that it's selected, that it was almost beyond belief. And this population is the direct result of highly selective processes happening in history. Yeah. So if you're going to have some sort of eugenic agenda, I will suggest that part of the eugenic agenda would be trying to create the hottest chicks. Yeah. And you can't do it. You can't do it just in one place. Yeah. I mean, look at Russian chicks, right? Russian chicks, I always suggest, are some of the most pretty women in Europe. But part of the reason why they're so attractive is because they were invaded by the Mongols. They were invaded by the Mongols 800 years ago. And the Mongols stayed there for 300 years, and they've got a slight admixture with the Mongols. Now, they've got this neoteny. Now, the neoteny on their face, it pertains to the fact that they've got slight Asiatic features. These slight Asiatic features, they signal youth and fertility. So you've got these highly attractive women with faces that signal youth and fertility, and this is what gives them an edge over women in the Western Europe. Yeah. Now, if you're going to create a eugenic race of females that are highly attractive, I would suggest that you look at places like Colombia, Russia, Ethiopia, and then you go from there. But has eugenics ever been put into the concept that you create a super race of hot women? No, it's all about creating scientists and all these people who are trying to create this perfect society where you progress in the scientific realm. I'm not interested in that. I want the hottest chicks. What do you reckon, Mystery?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's some value in trying to improve the the both sides of the equation, right? Like, I think that one of the biggest flaws that we have currently is that, like, women are putting a lot of pressure on men to be the quote unquote best they can be, but like women are just simply allowed to be as sloven and bullshit as they want, and they can be as ugly as they want to be and still find a man, right? It's just bullshit. I think that's a flaw. That's a flaw in maybe the Western man or even men in general, that we have such a high sex. What's that? Yeah, gynocentrism. Yeah, we just have it's such a flaw in our a whole as a whole, right? You like type shit. It's like that's obviously it's not true, but like, man, you see some, like, I've seen some really weird, like, especially where, like, weird mixed match couples where it's like the dude's like a 7 or 8 out of 10, the chick's like a 4 or 5, and it's like that's weird. Like, you think you'd find something better than that, but like you'd be surprised. Like,
dude, I've seen some couples that I rather fucking jerk off myself than be with that beast. It was that bad. I was thinking to myself, right now I have a girlfriend. She's not like nothing special, but at least I would say she's, if she could max out, she could be maybe, I don't know, around a 6-ish. But she's like between the category of 4 to 6, depending on how she want to go. So it's like, you just in a way I just kind of found the best mate for now. But just looking how things are. I mean, it's kind of like men since we live in a world where women's choices are so have the highest validity to it, and meanwhile men they just find any way they can to reproduce with. I think that's a pretty bad state of men, because in a way women are winning at every scale, and while men they just get the worst of the worst, right? Well,
Yeah.
well, Jack, just I want to ask you about your eugenics program, right? Does intelligence in any way, shape or form comes into that, or how does that work?
Right. Well, I don't want to come across as too crazy, but I would think the foundation, if you're going to have some form of selective breeding, that obviously it's got to be down to subjective values of what you want to see in the population. And I think Colombia is a good example. Colombian women are a result of conquistadors who are very masculine men, who they were the most masculine men in Spain during a time where Spain was at its height when it come to its ability to wage war. So these were the most masculine men in Europe, and they went into Latin America, and they had liaisons with these really hot.
Had a field day, dude. They had a fucking field day in fucking Latin America, dude.
Yeah, they're really hot. Now, intelligence, it's very difficult. I think there's different types of intelligence. Yeah, would you agree with that, Mystery?
I would say no. I think that the it's kind of a cope. I think we cope with that a little bit, where it's like, oh yeah, yeah, you have, you know. I think that if you're generally intelligent, you're probably going to have other types of like other quote unquote types of intelligence. But like, I think those things just generally kind of correlate with each other very well. I think there's different types of knowledge. Like you can be knowledgeable in another area, but like you can generally be like the other dude I know who does HVAC very well, and like but there's no way he could ever do my job, but I could probably do his job. But he does the job very well. So like people would call him smart in that regard. People might even say he has a high IQ, but my job is a little more requires, you know, I don't think it requires the highest IQ, but you know, it's not a high IQ job. I don't know, but either way, I think that there's I think we cope a little bit when it comes to the comes to
Yeah.
comes to intelligent shit a little bit. So
I would say with
Yeah.
intelligence, that I've seen a lot of different, areas of people. For example, there was a documentary on this guy who has one of the highest IQs in the world, and he was a bouncer. He talked about a lot of black pill, meaning that he talked about a lot of what happens, the reality that we see, but they're harsh. In a way, he was talking about eugenics. This guy was like living in the middle of nowhere, had like a couple farm animals, and just went. So, and then there's another, a very autistic, I guess, a Chinese man who has the highest IQ in the world, but he is not properly. He doesn't have any social skills. Like for him, communicating with normies would be
yeah, yeah,
would be hard, right?
yeah.
And then another thing is,
Good, good.
well, I was gonna say, I guess if we could really pinpoint down to a few variables, it would be that if do you have in your society, I would say that if it has to be intelligence, that people who can solve problems or who maybe strive to look for solutions instead of just, oh, you're macho and this and that. Maybe somebody, who's good at chess or different strategies or finding it. I mean, I could think of chess. I don't know how else you would determine, but people who look towards finding a solution and problem solving.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
IQ. I think that we IQ is important. Don't get me wrong. Now, I don't want everybody to be. Everybody, I don't think that people who have 50 IQ are like, yeah, obviously they're done. But I think that I've heard that people who have like IQs. I think the sweet spot for IQ is like 120 to like 130, right? Because like that's the IQ where a motivation for like very basic things like getting women or acquiring things is still a motivating factor, but you're high IQ enough to do most hard jobs like doctor or lawyer or something like that. But you're still low IQ enough to where like you're not low IQ in the sense of like you're dumb, but like your IQ is low enough to where it's like you're still motivated by basic things like acquiring a home and stuff like that. People who have really high IQ, their motivation and the way they think about the world completely changes. And like, they might be smart, but at the same time, they're so far above everybody else in IQ that like they don't even like know how to talk to regular people anymore, right? Like that's like what you were describing earlier, Woody Johnson, where it's like, yeah, people who are like extremely autistic. Like it's a very rare thing to find somebody who has I don't think it's rare. Maybe it's rare, but
Yeah.
I think people who have higher IQs is simply they have a much harder time acclimating to regular society versus somebody who's like a regular IQ or maybe somebody who's like slightly above slightly above average IQ, right? But I think that when it comes to IQ, I think we need a little bit of a mix of everything, right? Yeah, I think that you need
Yep.
you
Exactly.
kind of need low IQ positions to some extent, right? Like you don't want your highest or regular high IQ people doing like cashier work. Like they might be a great cashier, but their talent would be better used in another area, right? And then they might even get bored doing that job, So yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna add one more thing. I think it's the balance of nature and nurture, because there could be a outcast of India that could have a very high IQ, but he can't go anywhere. He's so impoverished that other than living in a hut and shitting on the streets, there's nothing much you can do, right? And hopefully maybe you find a way to make some money, right? But I've seen a lot of examples of this, and this is I guess not a general rule, but another example is some rice picker in Cambodia, right? They don't have any access to thinking about going to the West, or having an ability to, let's say, go to school for being a doctor. In a way, we would never know that, but there could be high IQ people that just don't have to. They're not in the environment that they could ever reach, anything higher than what they are.
Yeah. 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 I would say when it comes to intelligence, being able to solve problems and being able to look at a series of problems and understand the material needed to solve these problems, and actually having the type of brain that enables you to think about where these problems are contextualized when it comes to how you can pursue.
Yeah, I would say like being able to think
particular-
like abstractly is really important, which is probably a key
yeah,
trait normally. So yeah.
being able to think abstractly and having that type of brain that can continually do that throughout your life. That would mean you could enter into industries and you could, depending on how good you are at these types of things, you could succeed where other people would struggle. So you're going to have a better life when it comes to your economic participation, and you're going to be able to make decisions throughout your life which give you continual benefits in terms of your material status, your ability to get yourself into elite positions, your ability to make the right decisions for yourself and for your family, and to be able to make predictions about the things around you, so you can continually do things that are going to benefit you both in the short and long term. Having high intelligence is a very good thing, and you can see people who have higher intelligence have better lives objectively, because they have, they have more property, they have more money, and an average, they have better health, they have
Well, would
they
you?
tend to have.
Let me ask you. Would you guys say if it's I guess it's a high IQ, somebody kind of finds, that they could marry and have kids and maybe have a little farm, and they don't really want to go further in life other than having that, I guess, having the ability to find that peace and happiness in whatever they have. Would that kind of relate to any intelligence, or would that just be somebody kind of plateauing on their abilities?
Uh, well, I think if a person was very clever and they assessed the world around them, and they were clever enough to work out a way of making the money so they could buy a farm, and then they want some peace and quiet, and then they just spend all day in their farm, that would suggest that they're just doing it for their own mental health, and that would suggest that they are clever to be able to put themselves in that circumstance in the first place. Because if they weren't smart, then they wouldn't be able to acquire them types of resources. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I think it would be a good idea. But when it comes to females, I don't think high intelligence is necessarily a good thing. I mean, getting back, sorry if I keep on spurging out on this, but
No
if
problem.
you look at some of these Cuban chicks who you see in places like Miami, I think the medium IQ, like these really hot Latin chicks you get, yeah, with like all tattoos up their legs, and they've got like dyed red hair and that, and they've got that really sexy Spanish accent when they speak English. They don't tend to be that intelligent in the sense that they have the medium IQ, which would be adequate to go into the highest levels of white collar jobs. Yeah. But what they've got is cunning. Yeah. And they know how to use their particular physical attributes to be able to leverage men in the best possible way. Yeah. Now, I'll suggest that is a form of intelligence, because you look at these chicks, right? And they're not particularly intelligent. I'd say in Colombia, the average IQ is probably, it's not massively, it's not elite. They're not like this. They haven't got the same medium IQ as the average Greeks, the ancient Greeks. I would suggest that there's a disparity between the two populations. But how many men are traveling to Colombia? Absolutely millions, right? Because these women may not be as, on average, intelligent as the ancient Greek women were, but they've got the hotness, they've got the nice ass, they've got the nice bodies, they've got that sexy accent, and they're actually leveraging intelligent men's resources for their own ends. Yeah, and if they're a bunch of brainy chicks, imagine the Colombian chicks all 120, 130 IQ. No one's going there because they'd be too difficult to deal with, because they're so cerebral and they've got all they think they're above the men. Yeah. So now
Yeah.
these Colombian women are getting these millionaires going there, and they're living millionaire lifestyles. Yeah, because their IQs are probably a little bit lower, but they make up for it with cunning and physical beauty and that sexiness about them. So I'll suggest for men, having a high IQ is probably a good thing. For women, I would say having a slightly an average IQ is probably enough.
But I mean, I don't know if it's really intelligence. The thing is, because if you kind of understand the basics of life, that you gotta look good, and this is your ticket out of it, and then maybe wait for a mate to select you, that can give you the lifestyle. That's like just taking chances, just putting yourself out there in a way. And I don't
Yeah,
think
but
there's
yeah,
any
yeah,
higher.
yeah, but that is in a way that is like, let's say you're like 90 IQ, so you're like you're a little bit lower than average, right? Or not a little bit, you're a lot lower than average. Either way, so like you're 90 IQ woman, and you realize like you're smart enough to realize that, oh, if I just shake my ass, somebody said here shaking your ass, like, yeah, if you just shake your
Damn
ass
right.
and show some cleavage and have a decent face, or not even have a decent face really, just show up
Right.
really, and you can acquire things that men have to work hundreds of hours to get. That I'm not saying
Yes.
you're a high IQ, but the reality is that you do have, there is some intelligence there of like, you realize that, oh, I can game the system. Like, this is what organisms
Right.
do. Like, even cats, like you could say, oh, that cat's not smart. He's just doing his instinct. But like, instincts are, I'm not saying they're part of intelligence per se, but they are like, they're somewhat important, right? Just knowing your role in society, and knowing like for a woman, like, women have been acquiring resources from men for years, doing the exact same strategy, which is showing off their sexual nature, and men acquiring sex, and trading sex for money, right? There is something to be
Yeah.
said about a woman who realized, like, the higher IQ woman thinking that, oh, she's going to be more likely to be feminist and have these dumb fuck ideas of like, oh, equality, I need to be doing this, and 50-50 shit. The dumb woman's like, no, take care of me and give me kids, and she's fulfilling from an evolutionary standpoint. She's fulfilling her biological imperative, right? She's doing her job.
So
Exactly.
would you guys say that the farmer with a peaceful life and this chick that is pretty enough to get somebody who can take care of her forever, are they kind of on the same totem pole when it comes to intelligence scale?
No, they are on the
Yes.
same totem pole. I wouldn't say they're on the same totem pole, but like, they both acquired what they wanted. I mean, I guess
Right.
he wanted a nice life, and they both got it. And like, what she wanted what she wanted to do was simpler than what he wanted to do to some extent, right? Acquiring a farm and maintaining a farm is a lot more complex than shaking your ass and showing some cleave off. But the
Oh,
fact that
good
she's
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
good point.
but the fact that she's even smart enough to, or the fact that she even knows on a very basic level what men want, is extremely,
Mhm.
like, okay, like, there's some like value in that, right? Like, she knows what
Right.
men want.
I guess
She
that's
yeah.
yeah, no, you made a good point. Technically the farmer is smart enough, but both of them realize that, okay, this is where I would achieve happiness, or happiness in a way, where I'll be contentment. I think happiness is a stupid word. Content, I'll be in this area. So I guess in a life they are both on the same category. Would that be correct or no? What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right, mate. Uh, Sorry, can I don't Woody and Mystery. I don't want to keep on spurging out on Latin chicks, but I'm going to say one more thing.
Good, man.
Yeah. All right. There's a song that I listen to. It's called Carol G. Mammy. Yeah, and it's one of the most popular songs in Colombia at this present time, and it gives you an insight into the Latin women's mindset, and it's about a guy that she dumps because he goes off with a different woman, and when this guy goes off with a different woman, she's got three different guys who are beat her orbiting her, and she meets them all over the course of a week, and she's got her pick, and she the thing about their culture, the Latin culture, is that the cosmetic industry in Colombia, Brazil, it's the most popular cosmetic industry on the planet, and they get boob implants, they get implants in their ass. They have they have the designer clothes industry is very popular, and they take a huge interest in how they present themselves. Right now, if you're gonna get all the tattoos and your hair done in the right way, and you present yourself in that sexy way of all this voluptuous figure, right, you've got to think on the international stage when you're looking at the context of globalism. Yeah, that the Latin chicks now are actually attracting millionaires and billionaires into this region, and they're staying there because of these females. And then they're operating businesses right from the grassroots level, right up to the level of the corporation. And this means that there's going to be a huge movement of capital because these people are so hospitable, because they're so friendly, and because they're so they've got such a vibrant culture. These people are going to come into the country and they're going to start investing, and this is going to start pulling resources out of the richer countries into the Latin region. And I think over time, this is actually going to develop their economy. And this will mean over generations, these richer, more intelligent men are going to stay, and it's actually going to alter the genetics of the population. So they're actually going to start increasing in IQ. And this is the same thing that happened back in the day with the Spanish. They had this fearsome people come there. Now they've got these people coming here. And the Latin dudes, yeah, I've never met in my life a more easygoing, friendly, decent people than Latin dudes. They are lovely people, yeah, and they welcome dudes going to Latin America as long as you invest in the culture and you respect the country, yeah. So when you're looking at intelligence, I would suggest for the females presenting themselves in a way which attracts rich, productive, successful men is the highest form of intelligence you've got at a collective level. Yeah. And you've got some woman who's in Harvard and she's like talking about her law degree and that, yeah, and she's childless at the age of 40 and all she's got is a cat. She is not intelligent. All she's got is an abstract mind. I would say a woman walking through the streets of Medina who's hot of all toes up her legs is 10 times smarter because she's getting what she wants. The so-called smart chick who went to Harvard, all she's got is her cats and her shit memories.
Right. But shit, I forgot what I was gonna ask you, but I'll maybe ask you later. Oh, okay. I agree with that point. But I guess fulfilling your genetic legacy or passing your genes on could be considered the highest goal of humanity. But I don't even know how we would measure that. You know, if somebody does something, you know, that's revolutionary, changes the world, and if they don't have kids, in a way, does that mean more or no in life?
Well, like I'll give you a really good example. In Rome, there was the after the Roman civil war, Augustus took over, and Augustus, I don't think he ever had any kids, but Augustus is one of the most well-known. You know, he literally established the makings of a government that lasted for thousands of years, and people still know his name after all this time. Like in theory, he's outlived every single person's genetic potential by miles, right? Like by decades, you know, forever. So like, you know, Nikola, yeah, like there are things that you can do. George Washington, people are going to be talking about him until the day America ends, even beyond that point, right? So, Woody, what's going on in the background?
Is it too loud? I'm just
it's really loud. It's really loud. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all right. No, I wasn't sure. Okay. I'll mute.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to say that, like, you know, like there are things that men can do, especially that will, you know, put their names in people's mind for years or decades. Whereas women, I feel like the most important thing a woman can do literally is have kids. And for men, that's also, for the average man especially, that's probably their best shot at having any level of a legacy or lasting impact at all. But I think the average man will never amount to most things in the same way for the average woman. But for the average person, I believe the best thing they can do is have kids. But the reality that we live in a society that's extremely natalist, I guess is the best way to put it. But
yeah, I would say that the contemporary society, it's got to the level now where I think it's. I don't really look at politics as much as I used to, and I would say that the West is in the last 100 years maybe of living in its current state, and it's definitely going to change over time. But I think obviously this is YouTube. I think I'm pretty worried at the moment about how strong the state's becoming when it goes to its attacks on people's civil liberties. But I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And when you're looking at a female, I would say that her having a high birth rate is the most important thing she can do throughout the course of her life. Obviously, because that's the primary reason why they're here for. They're to they're to extend their own genetic code. Uh, However, it isn't necessarily the only thing that a female could do. But for a male, obviously you've got two different ways. You can spread your legacy through your DNA, but you can also spread your legacy through the
Your deeds
impact
and
you have
actions,
on this
yeah.
world.
Yeah.
The impact you have on this world. Now, I remember what's he called? Black Pill Towers. He was talking about your childhood experiences, and he was saying, "Now we all know this for ourselves." He said, because we are all the children of somebody. We mixed with other children when we were children, so we met the parents of our friends, and you grew up with a skewed perception when you're younger that every man's got children, and every woman's got children, and there is this functioning sort of repetitive occurrence that happens every generation where people are being born all the time, and no one's losing out on these family experiences. But what Black Pill Tower said is, during your childhood, you never saw these incels who were rotting away, single and alone, because they just weren't part of your reality. But these types of people have existed all throughout history, and these types of people now have got a voice for the first time in history, and the problem is that these types of guys are hated because these are the types of people who typically have been pushed to the side and basically told to keep quiet and die quietly while the rest of us get on with our lives, because you're not acceptable part of our group. And I think this is one of the reasons why the passport bros are so hated, because it's almost like the passport bros, these people who are geomaxing, these people who are doing things to increase their sexual market value, they're almost cheating the game. And through the act of cheating the game, the people who want them out of society completely are not able to exclude these people. And for that reason, this is one of the reasons why people like us have got so much hostility from society as a whole. It's particularly because we're the people that they have always found socially acceptable to hate.
But honestly, I mean, who cares, right? I think there's some people that can't be helped. Some people just dwell on misery, right? Whatever. I guess wherever upscale you are in life, you should always try to strive for better. And if you're happy or content with where you are, in a way that's just I guess that's just it. There's nothing else that could be done. And even if there is no, like, people are hating on passport bros, or incels have been around forever. Everybody has that chance. And if you're able-bodied, if you're not handicapped or mentally unstable, you always have a chance to go on. And I guess the eugenics process will always take in place, because, as we know, that even though they should, parents still pay more attention, or give more to the child that's prettier, right? They shouldn't, but they do. And unless you understand this, you can't really change it, right? If for example, I think all of us, if we have kids, we would understand it, and instead of hating it, we would be like, okay, everybody should get the best chance, best opportunity, and the best outcome, as many resources from us, so they can have a better life, right? But
Yeah,
and in another way, it's like, okay, you still, being a parent, you should try to strive, because, for example, most of us in the West, we would get an abort we would, I guess, would want to get an abortion if a kid has been found out to have some mental illness, or maybe any type of handicap, physical ability of it. And we would say, okay, it's better for that kid to suffer. I mean, if you're really religious, you would kind of take on the responsibility, and be in misery because of God. But most of the time, we would practice the eugenics, because
yeah,
we don't want to suffer. We don't want the kid to suffer, and we don't want to suffer for the well-being of that kid all our life. So maybe
yeah,
that kid could have been an incel, but you would never know, right? And just like that, everybody has. I mean, in a way, you can't really save everybody. You got, just like you, with Jack. That you found a solution. You're over here. you've got the knowledge and you went geomaxing, right? You found where it's best for you. And if somebody else, they don't want to do that, if they want to be miserable, then you can't really change or save them, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think if I had children, I definitely wouldn't want sons, because I wouldn't want to take the risk that my sons would go through the types of experiences that I've gone through. If you've got daughters, as long as you give them the correct guidance during their childhood, there's a chance that when they reach adult life, they will make the correct decisions. And the correct decisions for a woman is very easy. Just get a guy and settle down and have a family with that guy, and then just move on from there. But when you've got a guy who is born with a certain amount of physical or mental challenges, and that kid has then to approach the world at a level of disadvantage, that kid, that when he becomes a man, his choices are going to be limited. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a son to go through what I've gone through. And I don't even know if I could reproduce somebody like myself, and they would be approaching the 2040s and 2050s with the same levels of disadvantages that I had. I don't even know if I could give that person the correct advice, even with the experience and knowledge I've got, when it comes to how uh, what I think they should do based on the things that I did wrong. And I think it's always a safe bet to have daughters. And the the only thing is, though, if you get a son that is genetically better than you, and he's got higher intelligence, he's better looking, he's got better mental health, then obviously then you would be pleased because you know that person is going to have a good life based on these genetic factors. So, uh,
But you would never know,
yeah,
Jack. I mean, I would say that is, unless they have any disabilities, or if they're physical, mentally, then just have kids, whatever. I guess just having an able body, I think, is good enough. You just don't know how good or bad they'll look, or what they will be able to do in life. All you can do is try to, I guess, make your boss a lot of money, so you can make 10 cents out of that, right? And if you make enough 10 cents out of that, you acquire enough wealth that
I
you
love
you
this
would be able
comment,
to
bro.
provide you would be able to provide a good life for your kid, right? That's all you
Mark,
could do.
mark my words, my 2040 fetuses will have OnlyFans accounts. This is a good comment. A funny as
yeah,
fuck comment. Okay, have you guys covered the Logan Paul, Dylan, or how do you say their fucking name, Dylan Dana situation? It's the best BP story at the moment. You've got a Chad Oofy Doofing for Turbo Roasty, and then you have the People's Champ, Danis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good that's a good story right now.
Yeah, it's a
I
pretty
guess
big. Oh yeah, there's also the story about a fresh and frog getting fucking they got demonetized as well, but that's not really a big story anymore. But
I
yeah,
mean, it kind of sucks, and I hate anybody kind of getting demonetized. At least it's just they're just putting content scamming.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't like, but you're just getting money out of fucking Rubenstein YouTube.
can't get to demonetized if you're never monetized, my dude. Oh shit. Hey, I'm winning. Yeah, but yeah,
Are you winning, son? Are you winning?
Are you winning? I mean, all I know about the Logan Paul situation is that, I mean, the fact that he can't find. I think the reality of it, I think you'd be surprised how many Chads and just normal looking dudes you would like. I don't think Logan Paul was probably ever. Do you think he was ever really red pill aware, or even black pill? Not definitely not black pill aware, but red pill aware. Like he could probably get. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like
He's just
he's
fucking
just-
stupid. These
yeah,
guys are
he's
fucking
just dumb.
stupid. And it's also
Yeah.
shaming by society. You gotta get a fucking a roasted, old roast beef, fucking used and tossed around. And I guess it's gonna keep the status quo. Maybe you'll make a little, more money. But they have the ability to fucking go to buttfuck China and max out. But they
Yeah.
won't. Or they can even. I mean, guys like him, they can fucking go anywhere in the world, and they'll have a tremendous high value. But
Yeah,
they rather,
he could have went to Southeast Asia and found himself like a dime like Asian woman that's left and would have
probably
been
get a
over.
fucking
But
celebrity. They'll
Yeah.
probably be, kissing the ground that he walks on. If he actually tried, he'll get like one of the. How Asia is. They're white worship and shit like that.
yeah,
And finding out who it is, he could just. But I mean, I think they're very stupid. If they were aware, for example, Khabib, right? He got married, and assuming he definitely had bro, most likely had a virgin wife, right? Like nothing that ever, not another man probably touched her, and nobody would ever even see her because when they got married, I think he had her face covered up, right? So he's technically mogging every other celebrity in the world just because of that reason. Not only is he like world famous, UFC fighter, but aside from that, he had a wife that he wanted, and nobody knows what she looks like.
This one's funny. Logan Paul could get a Stacy Brazilian 10, but he wants to use up Arby's. He's getting that really old fucking Arby's from like 2 weeks ago and from the fucking trash can, bro. Like what the fuck?
Oh,
yeah,
and it's public too.
Yeah, it's public as fuck, bro.
Everything's fucking public. No, let them suffer. Let these fucking guys. Because if for example, if any of us over here, if we will try to tell them, hey, look, you dickhead, why don't you go to Suicide Forest in Japan, right? But instead of doing that, why don't you go? They'll call us. Hey, you just think too much, bro. Just this is gynocentric. You're a machista. You're a chauvinist. That's what they'll tell us.
Yeah. Either way, I gotta end the stream pretty soon. So let's do some last words and get the fuck out of here. I'm not sure who's in here first, but what's up, Woody Johnson?
Can I ask real quick, Jack Tisson? Sorry if I missed it. You're part of how would you select for intelligence in I guess in your choice of country or breeding?
What country would I say I'd select from when it comes to the most intelligent people in the world?
I think you said give you any country for the next 300 years, you'll have the best of the best, right? But intelligence, how would you find that out? You already described, the biggest and the strongest people you'll have them breeding, but how would you want to? I mean, how would you go on the process of having a high intelligence also?
Well, I would select for German males. I think German males are the most intelligent men I've ever met in my life, and then I would select for Colombian women, and then I would try to engineer a population where you get the physical features of Colombian women with.
You said German males? Who's that? Who's that?
Sorry,
German males?
German people.
Oh, German. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say if you're like in a different, I guess you don't get to choose what people, but let's say if you were given a country, let's say you were given El Salvador, how would you look for intelligence in that? If you
I would select the leaders of the cartels because they're the most intelligent people in they're the people that control the country. So I'd select the leaders of the cartels and all the criminal crime gangs, and I would select from them because they're the people that have risen to the top of that society under that ecosystem.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having me on stream. It was a good show. Good listening to everybody.
All right, Woody, thanks for coming on, my dude. See you next time, my dude. And Jack Tisson, last words, my dude.
Yeah. If you're born, please be born a woman. If you're born a man, make sure that you're NT and you're above average looks. Otherwise, don't even bother being born. No, don't worry about that. I'm only mucking around. All right. Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, my dude. All right. See you.
See you, mate.
All right, my dude. Hope you guys enjoyed the short impromptu stream, but I figured I would do something for you guys so you guys have something to listen to over the weekend. And yeah, hopefully this video gets a few comments and a few likes. Other than that, all right, don't forget to like the video, my dude. Like the stream, not video, but like the stream. Yeah, so let's end this stream, my dude. All right, guys. This has been Mystery School. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like the video. If you hated the video, leave a comment anyway. And never forget, buddy boys, that Wizard of fucking Gold. I'll see you guys hopefully next Sunday, or maybe actually I might stream this Wednesday. I don't know. I don't have anything planned, or do I have anything planned this Wednesday? Actually, I think I do. I'll try. I don't know. But yeah, maybe not Wednesday, but so definitely not next Sunday. I'll be home, or I'll be at my condo. So we'll stream again Sunday. Episode 43, I believe, or 42 or some shit. So yeah, dude. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Enjoy your holiday weekend and have some hamburgers and hot dogs and chill, my dude. Just have a good weekend. And cheers.